I woke up this morning, no coffee. It was like, I look in the, we have a little, it's like a cookie jar, but it has the coffee grinders in it. I say coffee grinders now. My wife's Dominican. She says coffee grinders. She goes, "Are you pour me the cup with all the grinders in it?" She doesn't really talk like that, but I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I open up the jar and there's no coffee in there. And all I heard was like the Star Trek alarm in my head. It's like I don't even know what the Star Trek alarm is. I heard it was like ooga, ooga, ooga. I was like, what? This can't be. Hey, the show must go on. Took a ride to 7-Eleven at 3:15 in the morning. You're welcome. You're welcome. There you go. I got this guy telling me. What's this comment I read the other day? I remember when your show is great. Now you're just some beggar on the street corner. You believe the fucking, there's no respect around here. Look, people can't stand it. I got news for you. You walk through this world and it's like everybody's trying to wipe the smile off your face. God forbid you're not miserable for 5 seconds of your fucking life. Oh my God. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going on doing this show for 10 fucking years. 10 years. Slaving on this fucking show. I'm not afraid to admit it. For nothing. To have some fucking cocksucker come on here and tell me that I'm a fucking beggar on the street? Please, dude. You know who I am? You can suck my dick sideways. I don't know. Oh, we're gonna talk. Listen, this is a subject that I'm really excited about, and probably nobody else is. That's that simple. I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen. Oh yeah, that coffee's good. Wow. You can't go wrong with 7-Eleven coffee. You think this is fucking serious out here? All right. You hear that? The winds of Thor are blowing cold, 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 cold. All right. They were so sad. Ding. Ding, 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 ding. To build a dream for me and no quarter. You want to live life? Go smoke yourself a joint and listen to No Quarter live. I can't wait to start smoking pot again. I'm not lying to you. I can't wait. To me, life is great when you just like smoke a joint and you listen to live Led Zeppelin. Okay? We're talking about No Quarter. And just, I don't know, a bag of combos? nacho cheese too. You know, you know what we're going to talk about today? There's no real plan today. Games that put me to sleep. You want to talk about games that put you to sleep? Now that I think about it. Shadowrun. Shadowrun on the Sega Genesis. I remember, you know something? I don't think I ever played Shadowrun sober. This was like, right, I was going to community college. Man, oh man, you want to talk about a kid with no fucking direction in life. I just didn't know where I was going. I was going to community college for mechanical engineering. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing with this. I don't even know why I'm here. I just felt like I was obligated to go to college. Anyhow, it was like every night I would just go out drinking. And right around the time I was playing Shadowrun, what me and my buddy Steve would do is we'd go get a fucking different... We were trying 40-ounce beers. Remember when 40 ounces were like the rage? You know, come on, Eazy-E was pouring them out onto the floor. A 40 ounce. You got a 40 ounce. It was the thing to do. And I always felt dirtbaggish drinking a 40 ounce. I got to be honest with you. But we did it. And what we would do is we would try all the different... We'd buy 2 40 ounces. Let me tell you something right now. 2 40 ounces will fuck you up, man. We're talking about malt liquor here. And this is back when... Listen, this is back with me fresh coming out of high school, all right? I'm as tall as I am now. And 160 pounds, maybe? All through high school, I was 150 pounds. Between 150 and 155 pounds. 6'4". So we're talking about Karen Carpenter thin. Oh, yeah. I was like a broomstick with teeth. I remember I used to work with this big fat Italian guy. His name was Steve. He's dead now. What a shame. What a shame. He recently passed, maybe like a year ago. Cancer. See, cancer. I tell you right now, cancer is like, it's like the most brutal thing out there. It's like this creeping death. To me, I always think to myself, oh my God, I'm getting cancer. I must have cancer. I got like a stomach ache. I'm like, oh my God, it's cancer. I'm like paranoid. It's like everybody's got this looming stress over their shoulder. When you hit 40, in your mid-40s, you're like, oh my God, it's cancer time. You just never know when it's gonna fucking you're gonna get hit. It's like, and it's like, you know, it could be like, you go to the doctor and all of a sudden you're stage 4, and you got 4 months to live. Oh my God, 4 months to live. You want to talk about a chain smoker? Watch me turn into Dean Martin. If I have 4 months to live, Jesus Christ, I'll be smoking cigarettes and just throwing cocaine into the air into my nose. God almighty, I'll keep that engine running, baby. The cancer won't be able to survive! Between the Jack and Cokes and the fucking cigarettes, nobody can survive in that environment. Yeah, so it's like as you get older, it's always that impending doom of cancer. It's like, what causes it? Where does it come from? Like, what? Was this always a thing throughout history? Why did we only start hearing about cancer recently? Well, I mean, listen. I mean, you never heard that. Did you ever hear the Romans talking about, you got cancer? Yeah, oh, what happened to Julius? He's got pancreatic cancer. He's got 3 months. I don't know. Did that happen? What did they call it? To me, it's plague. It's modern day plague. Why can't somebody get rid of it? Anyhow. Yeah, so Steve, we had this fat Italian guy, Steve. And oh my God, he was just the purest guy alive. Like I could get him so angry Like his anger would just come out of nowhere, and I loved it. I just loved it. And I remember every time he would mix these big bowls on this huge Hobart mixer. We're talking about a mixing machine with 4 speeds and a fucking clutch. Oh yeah, big powerful mixing machine. It looked like RoboCop's head. Anyhow, he'd mix like chocolate. Anytime he mixed anything chocolate, and then we'd have this machine that would dump the kettle over, but then you had to scrape it out with like one of those, like a Bondo, the Bondo squeegee that you would use if you're doing Bondo on a car. You'd scrape out the bowl. And anytime he was scraping out anything chocolate or brown or anything like that, I'd say, "Hey Steve, what are you scraping out your drawers?" I don't know why. And then, and if it was cute the first, like, one time I said it, and then I would just keep on saying it after every, and, you're mixing like over a dozen of these bowls a day. So after a while, he would get so aggravated. And I'll never forget, one time we had the regional manager in, and he was asking us about our pie dough. And I went like this, and Steve's scraping out a bowl of chocolate sheet cake, mixed like devil's food cake. And I come up behind him, and the regional's right next to me. I said, "Hey, Steve." And he goes, "No, I'm not scraping out my drawers." And the regional's like, and Steve turns around and he's like, "Oh." I mean, oh my God. But we also had this product that would come in, and it was called Andy Boy. I don't know what it was, like lettuce or something like that. It would come into the warehouse, and it was Andy Boy lettuce. And on the box was a picture of this, like, kind of like fat kid, like in suspenders, like from like the 1930s or something like that. And that was the picture. I was just a crack up with that little fat kid. So one time, I cut out the picture of Andy Boy and I put it on the bakery wall. And while nobody even noticed, everybody's working. And then I go back to the prep table. Me and Steve are working across from each other. And I said, "Hey Steve, look, your baby picture." And everybody turned around and lost it. Steve chases me down and he starts throwing knives at me. Steve used to whip a knife at me from across the bakery. I swear to God, like he was trying to stab me. These were different times. They were different times. This was early 90s, But and it used to cry. I'd run, throwing racks behind me so he couldn't catch me. Oh my God. He used to smoke cigarettes in the proof box. I remember I would come in and I knew Steve was in the proof box smoking, right? And I'd go over there and I'd rip the doors open and I'd say, "Hey, Steve!" And he'd... I don't know. What are you going to do? But that was the thing. And Steve... I was so thin, Steve used to call me, "Hey, look who's here, the emaciated cadaver." I love that guy. So anyway... I don't know where this is going. Very thin. Oh, to be drinking 2 40 ounces? What are you, crazy? So I'm going to give you the rundown on 40 ounces here. All right? Listen, I'm going to go from worst, and I mean, we're talking about 40 ounces that you had to go to the other side of the tracks to get. Okay? The worst was St. Ides. I remember... The very worst was Crazy Horse. Oh my God. That stuff was brutal. Brutal. Crazy Horse. St. Ides was disgusting. Crazy Horse, St. Ides, then I would say Old English. I knew it was the popular thing to drink Old English back in the day because that's what all the rappers were drinking, Old English, right? Old English was horrendous. Oh my God. It always had the like aftertaste. All those bad 40s had those aftertastes. But then you would get up, and then there was the ones that you thought would be really ghetto, and they were very good, like Country Club. Country Club's right up there at the top. Country Club had that really ghetto label on it. It was like, oh boy, you looked at it, and you said, Jesus Christ, this is No Frills beyond No Frills. But Country Club was good. Colt 45 was good. That was probably my favorite. Colt 45, or what was the other one? Or Country Club. Yeah. Colt 45 or Country Club. And then you had Hurricane. Hurricane and Laser. You want to talk about obscure 40 ounces? I would say Laser. My God. Yeah, so those were the big ones. I would say the best is Colt 45, Country Club, Hurricane, Laser. Laser wasn't bad. Laser. What are you drinking? Laser. Yeah, then St. Ides, Old English, Crazy Horse. Yeah. Ugh. So let me tell you something right now. For a young man at 160 pounds to be drinking 240s, I'd be stumbling home. I wonder how I can handle it now. Anyhow, I turn on the old Shadow Run, and oh my God, I played Shadow Run until I passed out. I don't think I was ever sober playing Shadow Run. What a fantastic game, and what a crazy game to play while you're inebriated. Think about that. But the one part I distinctly remember is falling asleep in the bar. Because even in that state, I almost knew where I could, fall asleep. And I'd fall asleep in the bar, and inevitably I'd wake up to that music. Something wrong. What was that song? Something wrong.
Saturn laut. Saturn laut.
How annoying. You'd wake up, you'd be like one eye opening after the other. It's like, what is this? Jesus Christ. Then after that, I would have to say Exile. Oh my God. Yeah. Late nights playing Exile on the Turbo Grafx 16. And there was one particular town where the music, you really need to understand the music in Exile. It's one of the most fantastic soundtracks ever. It's the most oddball of the soundtracks. Who did the music for Exile? I'm going to look it up. But there was this one town that you would go into. It was like that real, almost like Arabian, Middle Eastern music. And it had those drums like boom, 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 and it was just like a sitar. For some reason, the sitar is a very relaxing instrument to listen to. And if I was in that town, I would pass out. And then I'd wake up in a panic. I'm like, oh, my Turbo Duo CD is, I'm going to burn out the motor on the CD. It's been running so long. Hours. We wake up hours later to that sitar. Oh my God, it's so burnt into your mind. You think about it because you're listening to it, concentrating on the game, then you fall asleep, and it's automatically pipe fed into the subconscious mind. It's almost like you would play for a dream. And then the other one for the Turbo Duo would be Loom. Oh my God. The first level, you have to understand something about Loom. Point and click adventure game on the Turbo Grafx 16, LucasArts. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this game. It does, as far as point and click adventure, like those early 90s point and click adventures, it doesn't get any better than Loom. What a sense of adventure. What a sense of you're a young boy going on this wild adventure. And it's so funny because you lived on an island. You start on an island and you're like this young kid, lazy kid. It's so ironic that in the beginning of Loom you're waking up from a nap and the elders are looking for you and you're out on a cliff somewhere, like under a tree in the moonlight. The mood of Loom is so incredible. It's that dark blues, like blue, different shades of blue color, nighttime, right? And then like other things like stand out in the game, like a red leaf. It was just so beautiful. And then you see that island from a distance, and you just see the lights of the pier. And they're playing Tchaikovsky music throughout the game. Do you get it? It's some of the most relaxing and fantastic. I never had an appreciation for classical music until playing Loom. Yeah, Tchaikovsky. I was like, this guy's a fucking pimp. But here's the thing. You'd be wandering around your little island trying to accomplish whatever you're going to accomplish. I dare you to keep your eyes open. I dare you. And it was like the part, for some reason the part that made me so sleepy is when you would go down into the graveyard. And this little town was so interesting to walk around in. And the time, you gotta understand the time, the graphics for the time were unreal. You didn't experience anything like this. I had a CD-ROM. Nobody had a CD-ROM, do you get it? And it was pumping out these graphics, and with a point and click adventure game, listen, everybody knew, it didn't take long to figure out that the CD-ROM thing isn't very interactive. We're not controlling the graphics on the game because, you know, it's just the CD-ROM didn't reach that point yet. Graphically, where you can control those cutscenes. You had no control over cutscenes. But what was Loom? It was point and click. It fooled you into thinking that you were in control of those CD-ROM graphics when all you were really doing was moving a cursor on the screen. But I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I wanted to believe my machine could do it. I wanted to believe. So you go down into the graveyard. Remember the graveyard where the owl was? And you read the grave? Yeah. And boom, out. The other part was when you get off the island and you go to the what I would call the next board. I always thought of Loom as like 5 boards. But you would go to the next board where the sheep herders were. Remember the 5 sheep herders would surround you and they'd make fun of you? You know, you were young Bob and Threadbare. And they would make fun of you and they wouldn't let you pass. So you went on to eventually, one of the most badass parts of the game is you learn a spell that turns you into a dragon. And, or the illusion of a dragon. People that see you think they're looking at a dragon. So when you go back to these fucking clowns, they come popping out, they're going to pick on you again. You turn yourself into a dragon, and then they all fucking hit the road, and then you can pass. Oh, I remember seeing this. This beautiful pixelated transformation of you into a dragon. I mean, graphically, it was like, you don't understand. You don't understand. This was like, when I was playing this, I was like, nobody understands. Nobody understands what I'm seeing here. And to be honest with you, not many people did, because how many people bought Loom? Okay, so then you would go into the sheep, like where the sheep herders would, like into the sheep field, and the problem in the sheep field was the dragon was coming down and he was taking the sheep. But you would go into this little brick house, and there was a sheep asleep inside of I don't know, like a dog would have a bed. The little sheep had a bed, and you walk into this house and there was a fire burning, like brick fireplace. Fire burning, sheep sleeping. What is it about, like when you see a cat sleeping and you're like, hey, buddy, move over. I'm coming in. You just want to go to sleep. Something about watching a cat sleep. It's not the same. Like when dogs sleep, it's like, okay. When you see a cat sleeping, it's contagious. So I remember going into this little hut, and here's this sheep sleeping. There's a fire burning. And there's this Tchaikovsky music going on, and it was like, listen, I don't know about you. Maybe I come off as some kind of energetic guy. I swear to God, I can crawl on this workbench right now and fall asleep, and I'll be out within seconds. You think I'm kidding? My sister thought I was narcoleptic. When I'm awake, but I can hit. I'll drink this whole cup of coffee right here, and I could sit on a bed of nails and go right out. I challenge anybody to a sleep-off. I'm a professional sleeper. Napper? I can do it, baby. I wish there was a competition. Why can't there be competition for this? Where they time how fast you can go to sleep. I would be the Michael Jordan, do you understand? You'd be buying my pillows like you buy his fucking sneakers. By the way, who's this fucking My Pillow guy? Huh? He's a nice enough guy, alright? But you gotta come out with the fucking... He's got a cross the size of like, I don't know what. He should have Jesus on there like this. This guy... I want somebody to parody this My Pillow guy and have him wearing a cross made out of like telephone poles. Does it have to be any bigger? All right, we get it. You're like, you're into God. We get it. Listen, who's not? I get it. I'm in. Listen, we're in, right? Are we? Who? What? I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, and he's like the nicest guy. I want you to try My Pillow. It's like, I know this guy's like beating his wife. There's no question about it. Or he's like burning his kid with the fucking curling iron. Nobody's that nice! Anyway, what are we talking about here? Oh! How about this? You ready for this one? Final Fantasy VII. You want to know the thing about Final Fantasy VII? This is a time... I really enjoyed talking about Final Fantasy VII because it's a game I never played. That's right. I used to go over Phil's house and watch Phil play Final Fantasy VII. And I was completely fine with that. My experience on Final Fantasy VII was better than everybody else's. I wasn't worried about the gameplay. I wasn't worried about where I'm going next. I buckled my seatbelt and I hung on for the ride, baby. I was watching it. I was absorbing it. Oh yeah, we go over Phil's house, right? And then Phil there's something you need to understand about Phil. When you went over Phil's house to play Final Fantasy VII, Phil had a room in the back. You know, we're young guys, fresh out of high school, you know, going to college. This is, again, college days, going to community college. Phil had like a room in the back of the house with a separate entrance. I mean, that's all anybody needed to know, right? I was like Vinny Del Pino. Hey, Phil. I come through the back door like I own the place. Kick open the fucking... Phil had a refrigerator in his room, full-size refrigerator. Kick open the fridge. And it was like, hey, listen, you got to understand something about... And Phil, when we played Final Fantasy VII, we piped it through the Lafayette receiver, right? And then we had garbage, like... Phil had garbage... Like, we go garbage picking for speakers. And Phil had garbage speakers all over the place. Oh, yeah. It was the best. And we play Final Fantasy VII, and Phil would be like the fucking bartender. You know, Phil had like, had a couple bottles of booze or whatnot. Phil would be like, I mix you a drink? I'm like, sure, Phil. Phil would be like, yeah, listen, I'll always remember Phil as the worst bartender of all time. This is before the internet, folks. All right, Phil's handing me these cups full of like, it was like black. I don't lie to you. It was a cup full of black, and it would be like, hey Phil, what's this? And like, it's this drink, that drink, whatever. And then you drink it, and it was like drinking iodine. It's like, hey Phil, can we do something about this? And Phil's remedy for every bad drink was to just keep dumping peach schnapps into it until it tasted good. Swear to God. So we'd be sitting there playing Final Fantasy VII. Well, he'd be playing Final Fantasy VII, and we'd be shit-faced. And what a memorable game, and what a non-memorable game at the same time, because it was so vast. There's like, how many tracks of music on Final Fantasy VII? Think about that. Think about it. If you're talking about your average, like, 16-bit game, right? What are we talking about? A dozen tracks of music? It always starts out with that one intro track that goes something like this. And then it goes on to... No, I mean, listen, Final Fantasy VII had this amazing library of music. And it's all up here. Jesus Christ almighty. It's all right here. I think there's like over 80 tracks or something like that. Final Fantasy VII's amazing accomplishment. It's amazing. From the cutscenes to the story to the this, the da. But I just remember this one particular town where it was like all pipes coming down. Do you remember that? Like all these pipes coming down. And the music from that, I can't really do it off the top of my head, but I know the music I know so well. And it was like, next thing you know, me and Phil were like this. And it was like, next thing you know, we'd wake up, and you wake up to that game music, and it's like, oh man, it would be like fucking wintertime outside. It's like, Jesus Christ, I gotta walk home now. My house was kind of far from Phil's. But then I walk home like, drunk off your ass, stumbling home. And I remember one time, I think I told the story before, but hell, we're going again. One time I had this hot chick that lived on my block, right? So I'm stumbling home from Phil's house, and I'm like, I remember I took a ladder out of some guy's yard. you know when you're drunk at night and it's like you're wandering around. I took a fucking ladder out of some guy's yard, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go check her out, you know. And I put the ladder up against the fucking like where her bedroom was. I put the ladder up against the house, and I start climbing up the ladder, and the fucking ladder slide. So before I can even get up to the window, the ladder starts sliding like this, and I jump off, do like a roll onto the floor. You know, it's like one of those, you know, when you're drunk, you know why you don't get hurt? Because I'm falling off a ladder. Like today, if I fell off a ladder, I'd be like, oh no, my hip! I'd be in a panic, and that's when things start to break. When you're drunk, you fall off the ladder, and it's like you just roll on the floor, you know? It's like nothing happens. But the ladder went down the siding of the house. It was like... it was like an aluminum ladder made this horrendous noise. I was like the guy from Dirty Harry, the bad guy from Dirty Harry, when he's on top of the roof ready to shoot somebody in the park, and the police helicopter comes over, and he's like this. I got up, I'm like... I start running home. Fucking God almighty, imagine getting caught. How embarrassing. This fucking peeping Tom piece of shit. Oh my God. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, brother. Me and Phil, we fell asleep to Final Fantasy VII. I don't know, more than any other game I can even imagine. Passing out drunk on Phil's fucking concoctions. But the number one, and I tell you right now, this game is better than Ambien. You having problems sleeping? Get your Sega Saturn out and play a little Albert Odyssey. Oh yeah, this game was purpose-built to put you to sleep. Number one, what are we talking about here? Albert Odyssey, Sunsoft? What is going on at Sunsoft? Where they have the greatest music composers of all time over there? I mean, think about it. Think about it. Anyhow, Albert Odyssey, beautiful RPG. I mean, people, are you serious right now? Has there ever been a more beautiful RPG ever made? But I have to admit, you know, Albert Odyssey's a little slow. It's a little slow going. Yeah, it is. And when you get in and you hit that overworld music, the music is so relaxing and peaceful. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I can't tell you how many times I've played Albert Odyssey and I just fell asleep. Fell asleep. You can't keep your eyes open for that game. I never beat that game. I could never beat that game. It has... If I am on a beach somewhere or I'm getting a massage, I want to play the soundtrack to Albert Odyssey. That's it. That's it. You stressed out? You having problems? It's like you got 3 hours till you got to go to work and you can't go to sleep? Put on Albert Odyssey soundtrack. Good night. Good night. I love that game, but at the same time, I can't play it. It's kind of with me. Kinda. I don't know. How about it? Did everybody else fall asleep out there? Anybody still awake? Probably not. Anyhow, let's end it there. I don't have to tell you that you just tuned into the greatest video game program in the history of human civilization. And you better believe that. With a 4K face! We'll see you next time.
Go!
Tyler Shaw. Tyler Shaw.
Wanted to go.